This January, the 11th through 14th, some of us will be going to Carlisle for a retreat. And I'm going to teach this little accordion album to anyone who wants to join during the retreat. And I'm going to show you how to cut it out. It's very simple. I have the dimensions listed in the description of this video, and you may use any designer paper you want. Now, I took this idea from Claire Chevelle from My Creative Spirit in Great Britain. She used a number of papers from different graphic 45 sets to make hers. And the other thing I did was I took her measurements, which are in the video, and it's free to anyone. I'll give you the link for that. And I added just a little bit because I wanted to have 1/8 of an inch around 6x4 photos. So you'll see that my dimensions are a little different than Claire's, but I definitely want to give Claire Chevelle the credit for this pattern. Now we're going to be using some chipboard. You may use any chipboard you have. It doesn't have to be black, but I like working with black, so I buy matte board off Amazon.com, and I will have some there if anybody wants to get it from me. But we need just 2 pieces, and they're 8 inches by 6.5. And the easiest way to do this is to start at the 6.5 measurement. This is 9 inch by 12 inch matte board. Yours might be a different size. But because it's almost 2 millimeters thick, my blade will not go through in one sweep. So I cut it once, flip my card or my matte board, go back to the same measurement, and slice again. And sometimes it might not be perfect, and you might get a little bit of hair. Don't worry, that won't show. So that's my first cut, my 6.5. Now I need the length to be 8 inches. So I just place it on the 8. Let's see. Place it on the 8 here and slice up. I flip it over, go back to the 8. And the core is also black on this cardstock or matte board. So if it does show a little bit, we'll be able to trim that right off or sand it off. But you don't even have to do that because we'll be using, during the retreat, Claire Chevelle's trademark black construction tape. And that will be going on, and I'll show you another video on how to do that. That will be edging all of it, so it'll be nice and smooth, and none of these, any rough edge won't show. So I want you to make 2 of those. Now this one I've already cut to 6.5, so I'll go to my 8 measurement. Now, what's interesting about this little album is it doesn't have a spine because it's an accordion album. So that's the only cuts you have to make in chipboard. You're going to have 2 pieces of chipboard that is 6.5 by 8 inches. Now we're going to move to basic card. Now, if you use card that has a white core, you might want to ink the edges when we're done cutting. But I'm using a black core cardstock. This happens to be A4 cardstock, but 8.5 by 11 will work also. You're going to need 6 pieces. We're going to start by cutting 5 at 7 inches and by 7.5. So this is easier than the other to cut. Now save these pieces because we'll be using these for pockets and such in our album. So that's 7. My next measurement will be 7.5. I'm going to do that 5 times. start at 7, and then I trim it, keeping my papers I cut off. I trim it to 7.5. You can use almost any kind of paper trimmer, but I find the rotary blade, or no, the guillotine blade does not go through. You have to turn it twice, and it's hard to get it exactly straight. So I use a paper trimmer that has a running blade. This is actually a very reasonable paper trimmer I got on Amazon during Corona when Fisker blades were unavailable. And you can get a lot of blades for $6. 4 blades, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One more piece. This is number 5 of this size. And I'm going to do all the cutting before I do the scoring. So I have one more cut, and that is one piece at the same length, 7.5, but the width is only 6.25. This is actually a finished side without any spines or attachments. So I'm going to start at 6.25. Still saving this nice big piece of cardstock for our pockets and such. Then I'm going to go here and go 7.5. Now this piece, you can see, is smaller, or not as wide. Same length, but it's not as wide. It's 3/4 of an inch difference. So now we're going to make up that difference. I'm going to use a different cutter because this $10 cutter does not have any measurements on the right or left of the cutting guide. Let's see. Here it is. So I'm just going to use my Cricut cutter as a guide for scoring. And that's what our next instructions are. Score the long edge at 1/2 and 3/4. So I'm just going to leave my guide up. I want my short edge, that's 7 inches width, at the top of the guide. And now I'm going to move this paper over to the 3/4 mark. That would also be, over on this side, the 6.25 mark. So I have it right there at 3/4. Now you can use any kind of scoring tool or ball you want to make your line. Then I go backwards to the 1/2 inch mark and I score again. That's all I'm going to do now, is do 5 of these pages, score twice. So that's 7. I go 3/4 inch less. I can mark it here or go to my 6.25 on the other side, your choice. Run down a score, whoop, run a little crooked. Then go to 1/2 inch and rescore. Now what this is going to do is give you an area for tape, but also a fold area which will fit your pockets and photos and decorations of your choice. And the reason I go to the 7 first to see the width of the paper is to make sure I have it in the right direction. That one actually looks a little short. Nope, it's okay. So 7 and 6.25, or over to the 3/4 mark, and back up to the 1/2. You can do the 1/2 first, but I find it's just easier for me to do the biggest one first. That's 3. This is the 4th count. 3/4 and 1/2. 3/4 and 1/2. And that's all the scoring you have to do. So we can remove this. Now I'm going to use a silicone stylus. Now I can use one. You can use one. This is this is a hard plastic, very typical bone folder. This happens to be a Close to My Heart brand, but sometimes it leaves marks on black paper. But I find the silicone styluses do not leave marks, so that's what I'm going to use. Not that it's going to show much. Okay, now I noticed that that has a little bit. I'm just folding by my fingers. This one I didn't completely score. So that must have been that time I slipped. So after I score, fold down with my fingers, I just take the silicone and rub across. Then I find my next fold and finger fold it. You can finger fold both at first if you want. This is really pretty thick paper. The paper I'll be bringing will be Recollection paper from Michael's, and it's a little bit thinner than this A4 paper from Great Britain. Okay, so then you can see it just makes two nice crisp lines, and you want to do this. So you're going to have like a little pocket here. I don't know if you can see it well. Not pocket, a little fold area, so that this is where all your photos and width of your pockets will be held, so that the album will lay flat, or like an accordion. Okay, I'm going to do this quickly, and I'm going to do 5 of them. And this is a two-sided book, so you don't have to worry about which direction you fold on those score lines, because it's going to be an accordion and it will be folding back and forth as you work. That's 3. Remember, all the pieces that we tore or cut off, we want to keep to decorate the inside of your album. Make linings. The last one, number 5. And this makes, and you can go back and forth if you want it to be really easily movable. You don't really have to do that at this point. Now, if you notice, after we do these folds, it'll fit that last piece of paper that we did, because you have an odd number and we need an even number for our folds. And later I'll show you how to put these pages together. But as a hint, they're going to go in opposite directions. Fold on one side, fold on the other, back to the first, like that. Then this will either be your last page or first page. Now you might notice the covers are a little bit bigger, and we'll be attaching those in our next video also. Now there's one more thing to cut, and that's ribbon. Now, just to make it simpler for the class, I bought a big 100-yard roll, and it says you need 22 inches. Well, I find that if I have a little extra, I don't have to worry about frayed ends. So I have 24 because that's the size of my board. Let's see here. And I'm going to be showing you also how to do doodads. Because I'm using 3/8 ribbon, and again, we can trim these later and make them exact, but I just want you to cut 2 pieces of ribbon at least 22 inches long. And if you were using smaller ribbon, or if you use larger, like 1/2 inch, you would still want 2 pieces. If you were using smaller ribbon, 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch, you would want 4 pieces of ribbon. But this is what I have for the class. You may use any color or style ribbon that you want. Now that's the end of right now, but I want to give you a hint of what's coming. You have to pick your own decorative paper. It can be from your bin, your scrap bin. It can be anything. Well, I found some Christmas paper. Let's see. Here we go. I found some Christmas paper that has really soft colors. And the only one, you're going to need at least 5 pieces of 12 by 12 paper to decorate this whole album. And this extra page is actually the finished size, so it's 6 1/4. So if you cut one sheet of 12 by 12 in half, like this, the long way, you will have enough to decorate 3 to 4 pages. And I have 2-sided paper, so you can pick which side you want. But the cover, I made 6 1/2 wide. So I want my main color to be 6 1/4. And I made this my main color. And I'll be decorating it and showing you later. I just wanted to give you an idea of how you can plan out your pages. This is a picture of my life card. This is a picture of my life card. And I'm going to use these to decorate with. And this is a zip strip. And I'm going to use that as a title. And remember we saved our little black pieces that we cut off from our pages? You can also use these to back things and make them pop. So this is my cover, and it's a little wider. It's 6 1/4. But all my other pages are going to be 6 inches. And so what I do, if you look at it, it's 6 1/4 by 7 1/2. So I want my length to be 7 1/4. And it's already a half a page of a 12 by 12, so that's 6 inches. And this will cover a page, let's see, with 1/8 of an inch showing around. So this is an easy way to get a lot out of your paper. Now in the second part of that page, you have a cover at the top, and you're going to have to decide how you want these pages decorated. And I just started the process, so I'm not done. But I did find you can take these long strips, and I'll show you step by step how to do that when we get to it. But you can take these long strips, and then you can decorate them with your paper, and it can go on top of the decoration. It can go under it. It can do anything you want. So we have 4 or 5 of these scraps that we can use to decorate with. Now this paper is really soft, but because it's soft and I'm putting it on black paper, I decided to ink my edges with Distress Oxide ink. I was going to use brown because it's golden brown tones with this teal color, but I decided to use just the basic black so it'll blend well with my background. You don't have to ink your edges. I just don't like the white core of paper showing. Now, tomorrow when I do this, I'll show you how colors can totally change things. I have some beautiful P.S. I Love You paper from Graphic 45, which has a number of black, green, gold, and white pages. And I think that would make a lovely accordion album. But what a difference it would make if you used Christmas colors. So here are some beautiful greens and reds and a little bit of gold. And here's some stickers that match and some cutaways, postcards and other things that are on these pages. Picture my life cards, whatever you want to call them. So I thought a Christmas book would also be lovely. But you can also use a conglomeration. That's what Claire did in her sample. And I'll have that link below this video. She used, let's see, Sweet Sentiments, Nature Sketchbook, French Country, Time to Flourish, and A Place in Time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. She used 5 different paper packs to do her Valentine book. And this video, if you want to watch how she does it, is available for you to watch. So, well, that's it for today. Or I might come back on and show you how to put the black tape around your album and prepare your ties on either side of your book. But these are the measurements you need to cut, and we'll do that together. But if you want to do other colors other than black, which is what I'll be bringing for you, feel free to cut them ahead. So that's all for now. God bless.